Hey guys, welcome to Motoroids. My name is Amit and this is the Maruti Suzuki XL6 and I'm doing this review in English because a lot of you have been complaining that I've stopped doing videos in English. It's really a Herculean task and it's sometimes very difficult for us to be doing 2 videos within a limited time that we are given for a test drive, but I'll try my best today to do a quick video of this car in English and let you know everything that I have come to understand. And first and foremost, what we need to know is that this essentially is the Ertiga, and Maruti have changed a lot of things with the Ertiga to make it more palatable for the personal user, for the family guy, and made it look more premium. And if you look at this car, you'd see that it looks a little bit more SUV-ish, although Maruti is still saying that it's an MUV. They're not trying to project it as an SUV, but this does look a bit bolder, a bit more square. And if you look at the sides, you'll see these undercladdings running all across the car, so definitely it looks a bit more bold to me. The biggest change here is the fascia, and as you can see, you have this quad LED headlamp setup here, and it really looks rather nice. This is the highlight for me personally, and makes the car look really premium from the front. And this bold grille also is something which has been very nicely done. This wide slat, the chrome slat that runs into the headlamps, it really looks very nice, makes the car look wide. You have these DRLs here and the 4 LED headlamps. You have these blinkers here and LED fog lamps down there. The bumper has been redesigned, and you obviously have this cladding running here also, and this skid plate which is done in a very light shade of grey. The bonnet looks very high, it looks a bit more square, and as I mentioned before, gives the car a more SUV-ish kind of a look. Coming to the sides, you have these newly incorporated roof rails in satin silver, and they're rather tall, make the car look tall. And these wheels here are 15 inches. I really think they should have been bigger. They should have been 16 inch, and they are shod with 185 section rubber. But I think, you know, if these wheels were bigger and probably in a contrasting shade of, say, silver or even diamond cut, they would have looked a little better, because right now they are merging with that big arch and the undercladding. And I really think that a lighter shade would have made this car stand out even better. You have these chrome handles, you have these ORVMs which are painted in a contrasting black with these blinkers, and you have this skid plate in grey again, and these molds on the door. So these are some of the important changes that you have on the side. And at the rear, you have similarities with the Ertiga. Obviously, the tail lamps are quite similar to those of the Ertiga, and you have a high mount brake light here. You have wash and wipe and a defogger. The camera sits here, and the rear bumper has been changed. You have the black undercladding, and you have this fog diffuser kind of a look there in the form of a fog skid plate. You have rear sensors as well, and this rear reflector. This chrome slat gives it a sense of width at the rear. Overall, I think the car looks the best from the front. From the side, the wheels look slightly smaller to me in size than desired, and from the rear, the car looks slightly tall. Overall, it's definitely a better looking car than the Ertiga, and these touches have made it look a little bit more desirable as a personal car for someone who wants to ferry around his family. Another change that I forgot to mention was this insert here over the fender. And time now to open the boot and see how much space do we have there. So as you can see, we have already put a reasonably sized suitcase here and a couple of bags. and this space that you see here with all 3 rows up is 209 liters, which is quite a lot of space for this size of a car. And there is more space underneath. So you have some more space here under this tray, and this is the place where you have the jack, and the spare wheel sits under the car here. This is a full-sized spare, but you don't have an alloy here. Alright, so now we'll get inside the car, but before we do that, let's have a look at the key. This is the key, pretty simple. It's got a lock and unlock button on it. It's not focusing. Yeah, and you have a request sensor here, so you don't really have to take the key out of your pocket when you're getting inside. Just have to press this little button here. Entry is easy, doors open wide,
meters, bear right.
And even for shorter riders, getting inside is not going to be a problem. This is the cabin, and this is a new insert, stone, false stone kind of a finish. Looks rather nice, very tastefully appointed. You have this satin grey kind of a lining here. Let's have a look at the door panel. Big space for a 1 liter bottle, and you have some additional space there as well. Then you have power folding mirrors, electric adjustment for mirrors, door lock, unlock, and auto down and up for the driver's side window. And this satin grey and stone finish is here as well. This specific part here is soft to touch and works as an armrest for the driver. And let's now have a look at all the things that are there. So there are 2 variants, and you have the Zeta and the Alpha variants, and I'm really astonished with the kind of features that the Zeta variant has. There is hardly much to differentiate between the 2 variants. The only differences are auto headlamps, leather steering, leather seats, and a reverse parking camera, and that's all the difference. Even the Zeta comes with electronic stability program, as well as 2 airbags, Hill Hold Assist for the automatic variant. Automatic variant only has the ESP as well as the Hill Hold Assist. So the Zeta variant is also loaded to the gills with all the features that even the Alpha has. Now let's have a look at the various spaces that we have. You have the space here, and 2 cup holders here. There is this flat tray here where you can put your cell phone. I really wish Maruti had provided wireless charging here, because that's something which would really have differentiated this car from the Ertiga. You have a 12-volt power socket, and you also have this USB socket and an aux in. This is the automatic variant, and you have adjustment for seat height for the driver. Vanity mirror with illumination. This is another feature that Alpha has and Zeta does not. So you have vanity mirror with illumination on both the sides. For the Alpha variant, you have these sunglasses holders and 2 lights. Apart from that, you have a smallish glove box. You don't have cooling here, but the 2 cup holders here are ventilated with the air that the AC throws, and you can control the flow using this dial here. Steering wheel is height adjustable but not telescopic, and it's flat bottom, so that's another neat touch. And it has these really beautiful dark grey, satin grey inserts, which really makes it nice. And this being the top of the line Alpha variant has this leather cover, so it feels really nice to hold. You have push button start, and this 7-inch infotainment system, which comes with a lot of features. I've explained all the features in this new Smart Play Studio system in a video, and you will find the link in the card above. So please have a look to understand all the features that this wonderful system has. You need to require a couple of apps, and it really becomes a powerhouse of features after that. The infotainment system comes mated with 4 speakers plus 2 tweeters, and I think the audio quality here is decent. The bass is nice. It doesn't blast when you turn the volume fully up, although I really believe that for the audiophiles amongst you, maybe you'd want to upgrade. But for those who want to listen to music normally without wanting some really great dynamic range, people who are not audiophiles will not have anything to complain about. Seats are very comfortable, very well bolstered. Special attention has been paid to these seats. AC up front can be controlled automatically. You have climate control here, so that's a very good thing. And AC by itself, I think, could probably have been slightly stronger, because yesterday it was really blistering hot and we tried to cool the cabin, and it took a wee bit of time before it completely cooled. So I think if the AC was slightly stronger, it would have been better. It's quick, it cools, but it doesn't cool as quick as some of the bigger cars. So if you really want the cabin to chill very quickly, it takes a little bit of time. The XL6 now gets cruise control, which obviously is a great feature to have. You have voice commands. You can use those commands using this button here, and here you have the instrument console, and it comes with the a hybrid system, a micro hybrid kind of system, which comprises of a lithium-ion battery and a lead acid battery. And what happens is while you're decelerating or braking, it charges that battery, and then that battery in turn provides some bit of acceleration assist while you're accelerating. So it really is a system that works, although not to a large scale, but it does work. So on the left you have this tachometer, on the right you have the speedo, you have the engine temperature lying right here, and you have fuel gauge here, and right now it's showing us how the hybrid system is working. So all of that is shown here. The AC vents are laid out horizontally, as you can see, and they look pretty sturdily built. All of that is really nice. The cabin is neatly finished. The quality of the materials is par for the course, and the finish and everything is pretty nice. So all of that really makes you feel as though you're driving something which is more premium, a bit more luxurious than the Ertiga. And in that sense, Maruti's changes to this whole platform have really worked. What else is there? These leather seats I talked about are available on the Alpha variant only, and you have adjustable seat belt height as well. So those are the things you should know about the front. ABS and twin airbags come standard, and that's really something very important. This car has been tested for frontal and side collision, and it has fared reasonably well. So safety, although not top notch, is pretty good. Now let's get in the back seat and see what is the state of affairs there. And the seat height is slightly higher than the front, but it's not too bad. Even the shorter ones amongst you would not find it difficult. The elderly would not find it difficult to get in. The shorter ladies in the house may find it slightly difficult to get in, but it's still pretty good. The ingress and egress is pretty good. These doors open very wide, so that really helps the sense of convenience while you're getting in. The rear door panel also has this longish kind of a door handle to put your wallet or cell phone inside. This material here is relatively soft to touch as an armrest, and you have this big 1 liter water bottle holder and this huge map pocket, and these chrome door pulls up front and at the rear. The rear seats can be reclined, and this really aids comfort while you are going long distance. As you can see, the legroom and knee room here is available aplenty. There is no dearth of knee and leg room here, so you'd not be uncomfortable over longer journeys. You also have this armrest, which obviously aids comfort over longer journeys. The headroom here is impressive. Even people who are 6'2", 6'3" will not have any problem. And there is ample amount of space here. You have these dedicated AC vents overhead for cooling, and you can control the flow from this knob here. In terms of power, you get this 12-volt power socket for charging, and you have some additional space here. There is this sliding armrest for the driver, and there is some space underneath that also, so that I forgot to mention, but this is important from comfort perspective, and it's there, it's sliding, so that really makes it even more usable. The space is really good here. And a very interesting thing is that you have this aisle space here, and while you're sitting, you can actually use this aisle space to move to the third row of seats. So if you're sitting here, somebody wants to come in, you want to move to the third row of seats, you don't really have to tumble the seats down. You can actually use this aisle to get into the third row of seats, so that really spells convenience. So that's about the second row of seats. They are pretty comfortable, and the NVH levels on these cars have been reasonably well contained, although the accolades for being the most quiet cabin in this class is still with the Marazzo. The suspension is pretty good, it's on the softer side, rides very well when it's loaded, so all of that has been taken care of pretty well. So comfortable. Is it the most comfortable? Probably not, but it's very comfortable, it's reasonably comfortable, and you would be very comfortable on long journeys. So that's the story about the second row captain seats, and I believe that they really enhance the comfort, and over a bench seat with their recline function and everything, they definitely are much better than having a bench seat. So if you're looking for comfort, these seats very well bolstered, reclining, and good under thigh support, they'll make for a very good experience while you're being driven around. Now, to get into the third row of seats, it's pretty simple. You just have to use this lever here and bring the seat down, and then you can slide it forward like this, and then the big opening of the rear door and this big opening right here, and this reasonably good size and the height of the entry would mean that you can enter the third row pretty easily. You also get, I forgot to mention, for the middle row you get ISOFIX child seat mounts, so that further enhances the safety quotient. And the space here is surprisingly good, and I mentioned this in my Ertiga review also, that the packaging here is fantastic, that the space here for the size of this car is pretty good. This is not as big as the Marazzo or the Ertiga, but this still is a fantastic place to be for being a third row of seats. I really think that Maruti have done a fantastic job with the packaging, and if you see, the second row is not all the way back or all the way forward, it's somewhere in the middle, and I have some knee room to spare, so that's not bad at all, and you can actually use these seats for short to medium journeys without any problem. Even long journeys, if you're not too tall, the thigh support is not bad at all for a third row of seats. And the height here is pretty good, and that really helps, because sometimes in some of the cars the third rows are very, very low and your knees are pointing skywards, but that's not the case here. So very, very well packaged cabin, and the space that has been liberated here is pretty good. You have this armrest here with a cup holder, you have a 12-volt power socket here, so all of those things are there. You have these individual proper, not just lap, but proper seat belts, which enhances the safety quotient a little bit more, and the headrests are adjustable for height, and the seat back itself, it reclines, so that really helps. This reclines, and you can either keep it straight like this or fully recline, so that really helps enhance your comfort over longer distances. Headroom sufficient for me, and I think even a 6-footer would be fine here. Head is not going to bump, but taller people more than 6 feet would probably have a bit of an issue with their head brushing, but this is not the place for 6 feet people anyway. You would not want to put them here, you'd put them there, and you'll put the kids and the shorter ones here. So overall, a very nice third row of seats, and I'm quite impressed. You have this reading light for the second and third row combined. And another important thing that I wanted to mention was this aisle space that you have, and you can use this space to stretch your legs while you're sitting in the third row, and really enhances the space. So 2 people sitting here can use this space to stretch one of the legs, and while one may not mention it, it's really quite a feature to have, because it really enhances comfort for the third row. Now I also wanted to mention these mats, which look quite nice and are different, and these all black interiors with these touches of faux stone and this satin grey kind of a finish make the cabin look quite rich, and big windows everywhere, a lot of light coming in, makes this feel very spacious. So space is definitely one of the highlights of this car, and Maruti have really managed to get what they wanted to do right. The Ertiga was done right, and this further enhances the comfort quotient with these captain seats. Now let's get out. And getting out also is not difficult, so the ingress and egress is easy. You have 209 liters of space in the boot. You have if you put down the third row of seats, you have 550 liters of space, and if you put down all three rows, you have 690 liters of space here. But in Ertiga you had more than 800 liters, because obviously the benches, when they went down, they liberated more space. So that's the scene with the space, a lot of space. And yeah, that's the car for you. Now you have a 1.5 liter petrol engine with 104 HP of power and 138 Newton meters of torque, and it's mated with a 5-speed manual transmission and a 4-speed auto. The fuel efficiency for the manual version is 19 kilometers per liter, and the AT gives 18 kilometers per liter according to ARAI, and that fuel efficiency is pretty good. In the real world you'll get about 11 to 12 in the city, and you'll get about 15 to 16 on the highway if you're driving with a light foot for the manual, and for the AT you'll get about 9 to 10 in the city and about 14 on the highway. So that's the thing with fuel efficiency. Now in terms of driving dynamics, this is an MUV. Essentially the steering lacks feel at dead center. I cannot be doing that while driving. I cannot show you, but I've driven this car because I have to do this review in one shot. You guys have been complaining, so I'm trying my best. So the steering lacks feel, but the engine has sufficient low-end torque. Although when fully loaded, it does feel somewhat wanting for more power, but it's sufficient. It's I won't call it underpowered, but it's not something that is meant to entice or enthrall. Also, the engine here is BS6 compliant, so that's a very good thing. But a bit more spunk would definitely have worked. Overall, I really believe that it's a very functional, very practical, usable kind of a powertrain, drivetrain, and the 5-speeder unit, the transmission is also pretty usable. No complaints as such, but it's not an enthusiastic driver's car. This is a very functional, practical car. The suspension is sprung in a manner where it feels slightly firm when the car is not loaded. When you are driving alone or maybe with just one co-passenger, it settles down nicely when you load it up and behaves much better, more comfortable. The AT is also, like, it has a lag, and it's very convenient. Obviously the kickdowns take a bit of time. When you mash the pedal, the kickdown takes a little bit of time, but it's meant for convenience, not for the enthusiast. And in that sense, I think the fuel efficiency, the kind of fuel efficiency that it delivers, is pretty good too. So spells convenience, and for those of you who would be driving within the city, I think that makes it very, very usable. Now finally, the last thing that I wanted to talk about was the pricing. And if you really compare the prices of the XL6 with anything else, there is nothing else to compare it with but the Ertiga. And the Ertiga, if you compare it with the ZXi 80, which is a top of the line automatic variant, with say the Alpha 80, the price difference is about 1.5 lakh rupees, which might come across as quite high for you. But you have to understand that the Zeta, which is the lower variant on the XL6, is also loaded to the gills with features, and that I think is the variant which you should ideally be comparing with the Ertiga ZXi 80. And if you compare those two, you'll see that the price difference is not all that much. It's a difference of about 80 to 90,000 rupees ex showroom, which is, I think, justified for the kind of goodies that you get on this car. LED lighting, you get this SUV-ish kind of look, leather upholstery, you get a flat bottom steering, new interiors, all of that. So I think it's justified, and for someone who wants to be using this car for personal use, I think the Zeta 80 is one hell of a package for the kind of pricing. I really hope that I was able to sum this up in this one shot, one take review that I did for the people among you who have been complaining that I'm not doing English videos anymore. So I hope that I was able to satisfy you to an extent. If I was not able to do justice, I'm sorry, but I tried my best. And if you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe to Motoroids, push that bell notification icon so that all our videos come to you in a timely manner, and follow us on Instagram and Facebook. We're there as well. Our updates are more frequent there. And until next time, this is Amit Shangani signing off. Rev hard, rev free, and drive safe.